I made $46,800. E-Trade right now is doing some deferred loss thing. It's screwing up the monthly numbers. It takes like a month for the numbers to straighten out. I don't really know what's going on, but this is all I can show as far as being transparent. But this number is not correct, so I made sure that I have the correct number. It is 46,800, so better than October, better than September. I'm really happy with the performance. I just, going into December, I wanted to take it easy with the holidays and, with wisdom teeth surgery and just some different things that happened in December for me. I just wanted to take it easy, kind of go with the flow, and just work on consistency and just ending the year strong. And I think I definitely did that with this month's results. And I'll, going into 2021, maybe I'll start pushing size, maybe I won't, but either way, I like the steady uptrend that I've been on, and very happy with December. Lots of opportunities, lots of traders killed it. Record months for a lot of traders out there, just because of the moves were pretty insane. So what I want to talk about for this monthly recap is kind of some key spots that I felt like I could have improved on. And maybe they were some good trades, but I just thought I could have did better, so let's just talk about that. Got KXIN. It was a mover from the 330s to the 1020s. Okay, it pulls back all the way back down, basically to original news levels. And what I noticed is for a full week it held this $4 range, okay, for a full week. So what do you know about when a price level hangs around somewhere for a while? Well, that means that the bottom potentially is in. And you don't want to guess the bottom, okay? You want to wait for confirmation of the bottom, and this is really what you're getting here. Okay, you're getting a higher low, double bottom, with some nice development, and it's breaking out of this uptrend, or basically it's a clear trend on the daily, and it's breaking out of it. So after it's proven itself that it held that support, it's just a really great spot to look for a bounce. And if you look on the 17th, okay, we'll go back and take a look at that. So December 17th, what happened? If you were anticipating the bounce, you could have got involved and played it for pretty decent scalp. Went from 4 to the 430s with some relatively good volume. You could definitely make some good money on that. Now, I would say if I was looking for the bounce, it wouldn't be very impressive to me. If anything, I'd be disappointed by this move. 30 cents on something that has dipped $7, well, that's not really anything special. But here's the thing. If you really look at this TA, it's more like consolidation TA. So you could think of this like the first perk before something bigger. So then you look at the next day. What happened on the next day? So I should just look at the monthly and just go to the chart. It's going to be a much better view. So this was the perk. This was day 2. Now in the morning it dipped, okay? But it was able to hold that key support from the day before. And then it began to curl. So it held gains and then began to curl. And it made a new high day breakout at 430. Okay? And now I noticed that there was a giant 130,000 share wall at 430. So I was just camping it patiently, waiting until I felt like it was chipping away and then was going to break out at 430. And once that surge occurred, I went ahead and took 5,000 shares right into it. I got filled at 430. The plan was to hold this for a move to the 480s. I thought that was 50 cents a share. It would be quite good, and I knew it could go much higher. But I just thought 480s, that seems really reasonable to me, just given the fact that this is a nice bounce setup, and it could definitely start testing the $6 level. So I actually was going with a very, very conservative price target. Now, for whatever reason, I think this dip did something to me, like psychologically, it did something to me for sure. Because when you enter a play and you get just a really great uptrend, and all of a sudden you're up like almost $1,000 on your play, and then the next 5 minutes, all of a sudden you almost get back to break even. You know, things start to go through your head like, wow, what if this just totally reverse dumps and I end up taking a loss? You know, like what if I get filled at 420 and take a $500 loss? And these things were kind of running through my head. I was getting freaked out. So on this bounce, okay, essentially I was like, I just told myself it's either going to have a really strong bounce out of 440 and start retesting the 445 level, or I'm just going to get out of the way because I'm kind of freaked out. So I went ahead, I sold it at 440. Okay, I locked up $500. It dipped a little bit, but then it held and started to curl again. And after that, it just went, you know, essentially straight up to my original profit target, held a bit, and then even surged more to 525. So, you know, locking up $500 on a play that peaked at nearly $5,000 of upside, that's kind of tough, you know. It's like, that one hurt, you know. That one did hurt for sure. So that was a very big mistake on my part. You know, sometimes you just have to stick to the plan. You know, sometimes you just gotta stick to the plan, and even though it hurts, you gotta do it. You gotta do it, you know. So I got punished for not following my plan, and yeah, I would say it was a pretty big moment in the month. I want to talk about AQMS here. So if you look on the long-term chart, this one had a really nice perk from $1 to like $1.50, and then it kind of came down, and it was able to hold up the $1.15 range, and then it started to curl a bit, and that was pretty nice. So it started to curl, it surged up to $1.88 on day 2, kind of just held those gains, and I was looking for a 3rd day surge. It's a pattern that I see will happen all the time. You know, I call it a 3rd day surge pattern. Just basically something as a day 1, it holds gains, and then on day 3 it surges. And this is what you have right here. So day 1 comes down a bit. On day 2, you know, just holding those gains. Day 3, it opens like basically near that key resistance or the high from day 1. So if it breaks out of that, then you just think to yourself, well, what did it do on day 1? Went from 140 to 190, let's just call it. So that's 50 cents a share. So if it develops and then breaks out of this high, well, we could probably expect another 50 cents a share. You know, that's a pretty realistic target, because the scales, generally speaking, they like to flow with, you know, the scale likes to flow the same way it flowed on day 1, if not more powerful, because it's a breakout this time. So, you know, as you can see, it did play out exactly that way. Now, in the morning, because I was aware of the multi-day, I was prepared for it. And even though the structure doesn't look developed, or, you know, maybe you don't really know what's going on, it's low volume, you don't know how to play it, I knew how to play it, because the multi-day was the more important factor here, rather than the intraday. So I went ahead, I took 5,000 shares at 185. Just, you know, it held basically this trend all morning. I don't know why I'm saying all morning. I mean, this is literally 5 minutes, so not all morning, but you can see it's a clear entry zone. And then it just finds a nice uptrend, and I'll definitely give myself credit on this one. I stuck to my plan, and I really let it ride. In this area, you know, it failed to flag out of this, and then I got scared out on the dip right here at 225. I'm still incredibly happy with the trade. It was really excellent. You know, that was a $2,000 trade. Just really, really excellent. Very happy with that. And actually, if you look, I mean, take a look at this chart. It actually is impressing me. I see a pretty nice triangle setup. I mean, look. maybe it'll start to perk and get over this key resistance at 324. Okay, maybe it'll retest some of these highs for a much larger breakout on the long-term chart. You know, the market's crazy right now. Multi-day, multi-week, multi-month breakouts are just working incredibly well in finding just major upsides. So who knows? Maybe it has another run to go. Maybe it doesn't, but I think it's worth a watch. BTBT, kind of crypto sector, with Bitcoin exploding, making new highs. This broke out of a multi-week trend. Okay, so it kind of like perked, it found a high, it was in a bearish downtrend. And then on this day, it broke out of that downtrend and surged up to new highs. So, you know, that's just really bullish. And it's, when you see things like that, well, obviously you're going to want to watch it. And, you know, I didn't catch the morning perk. This is a really incredible move from 650 to 8. I didn't catch that, but that's okay. You know, if something holds gains, I can certainly play it. So it holds gains, makes a nice kind of trend, and then I play the breakout of the trend. I bought in at 770. Okay, so right here, I bought 2,000 shares at 770. I wasn't really sure like what to expect out of this. I mean, I had a sitting limit at 820 and I got filled. You know, it's really hard to say because the truth is I am extremely happy with that play. I mean, that's $1,000. That's very good money and singles add up. So on a play like this, where I was less confident of where it would go, I don't necessarily mind the sell. Like KXIN was a lot worse than this. I think this was reasonable. Now, if you look at the long-term chart, you know, you look at the long-term chart, it's like, well, maybe you should have gave it more time because there's really no overhead resistance. I mean, there's some action here, but there's no volume here. So these levels aren't really necessarily as important. And it just had a multi-week breakout. Bitcoin's on fire. Like, maybe I should have just let it roll. And instead of using like a price target, perhaps I should have just given it like a time frame approach where I was just like, I'll just give it a couple hours. And, you know, sometimes time frame approaches can be far more beneficial than using a price target. And it certainly, in this particular case, it would have made me a ton of money. Okay, it would, you know, so a $4,000 winner, I locked up $1,000 on. Look, I'm not trying to be results orientated. I think $1,000 trade is for me, it's still very good. So I'm not going to feel too bad about it. And then it basically just kept holding and finding new highs, holding, finding new highs. Okay. So, very impressive move. I mean, just incredible. Peaked at 24. I mean, what do you even say about this? Just an incredible multi-week breakout, or multi-month, you know, just crazy. So that was very fun. Alright, I'm going to go over one more play on BNSO. Just to kind of talk about, you know, maybe in a way to justify how I trade. I don't know. But I just want to at least get you thinking. So BNSO is just a random scientific and technical instruments Hong Kong China stock, and if you look at the long-term chart, it's like, okay, it's been consolidating in a range for a while. It's pretty good, but you wouldn't necessarily expect an explosion like this. I mean, it is capable. It went from 4 to 550 one day here. Let's see, was that a PR? So it doesn't look like it had news in the morning. It was kind of like some afternoon just talking about the explosive move ahead. So to get to the point, okay, lately I've been noticing a lot of like random low volume stuff just start to perk and just run into major moves out of nowhere, seemingly. And that's why I've been playing, you know, low volume trash essentially. Just trying to find plays like this. So it can look like there's no development, no volume, nothing's going on. But if you take an anticipation entry here, you can find a home run. So it's like it's been kind of tricky like that, like a flip of the coin, trying to find which one's going to explode for you. Just anything low float right now has just been doing really nutty stuff. So and so this brings me to a trade I made on EQ. Okay, so I played EQ on the 18th. This is what I saw. I saw that it broke out of this downtrend. It started to perk up. Okay, and then it held the range horizontally. So it's a stair stepper. Very low volume, but it's 11 mil float. It's a low float. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go for this. You know, these low floats have been doing insane stuff. Let me just give it a try. So I took 2,000 shares at 5. It holds up for me, and then I see some really nice bid support come in. Right at 501, like 7,000 shares. Like just a large support that I hadn't seen on the ticker for the day. And so that really got me to go ahead and add. So I added 2,000 shares at 503. So I had 4,000 shares at 501.5. And I started to get a nice uptrend. You know, it perked, came down, but it held and started to perk again. And I just really thought it could go crazy. Now, long story short, I ended up selling it actually at 512. Once, you know, it couldn't get going, it just had no momentum. I didn't want to let my winner, you know, turn into a red trade or anything, so I just accepted, hey, this is slow, I'm gonna get out. So, you know, I still made, what, $450 on that or so. So, I mean, pretty good. So if you look at the long-term chart, so this is the day I played it. And so this is what I was really seeing. It's like, okay, it's capable of having really big bounces. It went from 350 to 650. That's $3 a share. Okay, and then in this area, it's like, wow, that's a really clean triangle setup. It's forming really nice consolidation TA on the intraday. If the market latches onto this, it could make a really nice pump and test the $6, 650 high that it tested before, and kind of that key resistance on the multi-month chart. So that's why I did what I did, and just for whatever reason this month it just seems like the low float plays that I'm sizing really nicely into, they're just not giving me the pops at the right time. And maybe I'm missing something, maybe I'm getting unlucky, you know, I don't know really what to call it. I just haven't been hitting them. You know, I haven't been hitting them for whatever reason. You know, so that's why I bring up BNSO, because it had really slow kind of development structure, just like EQ. This one ran $5 a share. You know, if something wild like that would have happened on EQ, you know, I make $10,000, $15,000 on one trade, right? So, so yeah, that is why I've been taking these speculative trades on kind of low volume, kind of iffy structures, because I think the low floats have a lot of potential right now, and you just don't know what's going to explode right now. You know, it's pretty wild times. So I've been taking some different strategy approaches like that. Yeah. So I think that is enough rambling for the monthly recap video. So 46,800, solid month, incredible year. Hope everybody's having a good holidays. And 2021 hopefully will be another great year to come. All right. See you, everybody.